Welcome back to the Echo Before the Applause, where we dive into the lives, processes, and projects of today's composers.
We're not just talking about finished pieces, we're talking about the messy drafts, the late nights, the doubts, and the breakthroughs.
Today, we have Professor Dr. Phillips, or also known as Matthew Phillips, on our show. He taught both Dorian and me about music technology and oral skills. He is also a composer and has a band. So let's get started. Matthew.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, wow, what a question. I am Matthew Scott Phillips. I am a composer, arranger, part-time music theorist, professor, bass player, guitar player, occasional stagehand, and general musician. I've lived in Birmingham most of my life. I've lived in other places off and on, but this has kind of always been my home. I have been composing for a very long time now, and I've gone through a lot of different stages and tried my hand at a lot of different things over the years. So that is basically me in a quick nutshell.
From what our conversations, as like teachers do, you did have a podcast, or do you still do it?
No, I do have a podcast still. Podcaster, yeah. That's my longtime friend and excellent musician and tech person, Jeremy Burns, and we host Music Student 101, which is a podcast geared to help everyone grow as musicians. We cover music theory very, very in depth, starting at the beginning with no previously assumed knowledge, and cover everything from rhythms, scales, the circle of fifths, all the way up to we just recently did one on structural analyses. We've got set theory scheduled, and everything in between there, music theory wise. We also talk about music history a little bit, orchestration, caring for your instruments, things like what to expect at your first gig. Was one of our recent ones. We do episodes on music and grief, music and drug addiction.
Wow.
We do things on the first musics, ancient music, and things like that. So, it's a wide-ranging podcast. I think most of our listeners like the theory, which is very gratifying to me.
I mean, when I was listening to it, it was all about the theory for me. But I was like trying to pass
classes. Right? Yeah, that's what people like about it. It will definitely help you through that. I've had students come up to me before and go, Dr. Phillips, is there a podcast on this thing we're talking about right now? Can we just go listen to your podcast, and go? Yeah, and the answer is yes. You can sort of.
I remember making reads while listening to your podcast, because I would be downstairs at one of the buildings and just making a read and listening to your podcast, so I could try to knock two things out at one time.
Yeah, and it's great for that. It's great because we tend to digress a lot, as you may recall. We'll go off on all sorts of interesting tangents, and mostly musical related.
They're always almost musically related.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, and so it's very conversational. We like to try to keep it that way. Try to keep it so it's just it just sounds like sort of the way we talk when we're just kind of hanging out. A little more structured version of that, but yeah. It's we are at episode. Oh man, Jeremy's going to kill me because I don't remember. 160. We're in the 160s or something now. So okay. Yeah, it's been around a while.
So way more than us.
Well, we've been at it longer.
True, that is true. How many years do you know?
We first got together to start talking about doing a podcast. I had just come back to Birmingham from living in Georgia, so that would put it at 2015. I think our first episode was probably 2017, 2018, something like that went live. So
about almost 8 years. Well, yeah. Actually, it would be 9 or 10, but
yeah, almost 9. Yeah, 9 or 10 since the concept. About 8 that we've been doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, we podcasted through COVID, and
that's
those were some fun. Those were some fun times.
Days.
Yeah.
Are you usually a morning composer or a late night composer?
I am by tradition a morning composer. And as I've gotten older, I've started being able to compose more late at night. And I have done that occasionally just because sometimes that's when I have to compose, you know. But if left to my own devices, I usually compose in the morning. And I think I'm a little unusual in that way. I think or a lot of composers at least prefer to compose at night.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm a late night composer.
Yeah.
I'm about to fall asleep and I'm like, ooh, an idea just popped in my head. And
Yeah.
go compose to it.
That has definitely happened to me, and I've definitely done that. But I think the majority of my composing time is me in the morning. You know, get a good cup of coffee, sit down, and say, okay, let's do some work. Yes.
So we had a student on the podcast last episode, and he's following like kind of like a strict schedule. Do you have like any kind of schedule that you follow?
Oh,
like,
man,
do you
I
compose?
wish.
Or
I wish. I try to do that. I try to say like, okay, I'm going to compose from like, 9 to 12 Wednesday. That's going to be my composing time, and it just completely falls apart every single time I try to do it.
So you're just like a free worker. Like,
I am.
Free worker. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're free.
Yeah.
You're flowing the stream of.
I am
however.
I am flowing the stream. I tried because I have tried to make myself structured, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. I sit there just staring at the computer screen and having no motivation. So at this point, I've learned like when I feel like composing, I will get up and go down there and do it.
Do you like when you're composing, do you delete often or do you save ideas? Like if you come back one day and you're like, I'm not really feeling it. Do you save that or do you just like delete it?
It really depends. It depends on why I don't like it. A big part of my process whenever I don't like what I'm composing is I sort of ask myself, okay, well, what's wrong with it? What don't I like about it? And if I can answer that question satisfactorily, I will say, all right, well, if this is what I don't like about it, maybe can I change that? Maybe can I improve that? Maybe can I take that out? And so most of the time I'm saving things. And I'm saving things and kind of just trying to work on it, trying to improve on it. For me, this is just a big part of my process. I get this initial inspiration, but then there's work and work and work that goes past that. And that work is sort of just the process of taking that idea and applying, what I think I know about music and about composition to create a full piece. So mostly I save ideas. Every now and then there's just something that's just, this was just a bad idea. Every now and then I've got some things that's just like, and I don't delete it. They still exist.
Okay.
I abandon. I have definitely abandoned some things before because it's like, this was just not working at all. This is just not going to work.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm like one to delete it. I don't know why, but my ear just kind of tells me if it's gonna work or if it isn't.
This is wrong. This is bad.
Yep. And I just like go ahead.
This has to unexist.
I've been told several times I shouldn't do that, but I mean.
Well, you probably. I don't know. I'm going into composition professor mode now, so please forgive me. But like, you will be amazed at the things that you think are horrible at one point. And then if you come back to it 6 months later, a year later, you might think, oh, this wasn't so horrible at all. Maybe I can work with this. There is the process of composing can be very emotional.
Yeah.
Right? As you both well know, and sometimes you can get into that phase where you just think, this is just horrible. This is just so bad, and like I take it personally. It's like, why is my idea so bad? And you feel like you want to delete it. You feel like you want to abandon it, but you come back later in a different kind of emotional state, and you think, oh wow, I probably should keep working on that, and you can pick it back up a lot. And maybe you will never do that. Like I said, I've got plenty of things that this abandoned. They are files sitting on my computer right now. They haven't been touched in literal years, decade. They'll probably never be finished. I just kind of considered it a failed experiment. But then there are a lot of others that I come back later and go, oh, maybe I can do something with this. It's just a question of of being in the right headspace for that particular idea.
Okay. Yeah.
What have you been listening to lately?
What have I been listening to lately? I am so all over the place with the kind of music that I've been listening to. So one of the things I listened to very recently again was Beethoven's Sonata Pastoral, which is a Beethoven piano sonata. It's one that I personally really like. But then within the very same day, I decided I wanted to listen to prog metal that day. So like on the way home that day, this was a class. So on the way home that day, it's like, I want to hear prog metal. So let's get some Dream Theater. Let's get some Fates Warning. Let's get some stuff like that. And then I will turn around and I am a lover of Indian classical music.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely, yes. The sitar, the veena. One of my favorite performers of the veena is someone named Jayanthi Kumaresh. Beautiful playing. So I'll listen to that. I will listen to I will listen to rock and roll. I will listen to traditional Middle Eastern music, which is something else I've gotten into a lot recently. My favorite contemporary classical composer is Arvo Pärt. I love to sit down at night and relax with, because his music is to me very, very gentle, and it's very soothing and almost meditative. I listen to Arvo Pärt a lot. John Tavener, Steve Reich, some Philip Glass. I will listen to some Philip Glass. The main thing that I really kind of avoid is like the mid 20th century sort of integral serialism stuff. That doesn't really strike a chord with me personally. But just about everything else. Everything else.
How would you describe your career? Like, when someone's like you're introducing yourself to someone, what would you say you do? Because it sounds like you've got a lot of roles,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all over the place. So if someone asks me what I do, I will usually say I'm a music professor.
Okay.
Because that is probably what takes up most of my time now. That wasn't always true. But it is probably what takes up most of my time, and it's something people, understand that they pay me for, which avoids the inevitable questions like, well, how are you going to make money doing that, right? It's like, so, if I say, well, I'm a composer, or if I say I'm a musician, or I say I have a podcast, the inevitable next question is, well, do you make any money doing that?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, come on, shut up. They're like, you ask me what do I do. You don't ask me how I make money. How I make money. But so now I've decided that when somebody asks me that, I say I'm a music professor, because they understand that I get paid for that. So okay.
Got it. Was there like a specific moment that you wanted to become a professor, or like? I know you want, like, you are a composer as well.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Honestly, when I was younger, I did not want to be a professor. I definitely kind of remember thinking, no, I'm not going to go be a professor. I don't want to do that. So life can be funny that way. What I did want to do was learn as much as I could about music. And I definitely wanted to learn to compose. Definitely. That was my passion. My senior year of my undergraduate time in college was when I really did sort of realize I could do this, right? Like, yeah, you can put notes together, you can make other people will play it. It's an actual thing. And I was just all off into that. So that meant graduate school. And graduate school meant, in many ways, sort of learning to be a professor. You know, because the most traditional way to pay for grad school is, you know, you TA, you know, you're a graduate assistant. You know, they give you classes to teach, or you know, you help grade papers or something, right?
Right.
And so you start learning sort of how to be, and I discovered I really enjoyed it. You know, I realized that, you know, I can sort of, my job can be standing around talking about music all day. I'm like, well, you know, what's better than that, right? You know, talking about music all day to other people who are as interested in music as me.
Right.
So, you know, I kind of, it was in graduate school that I kind of developed the passion for, and the idea that, yeah, this could be fun. This could be a fun thing, and a thing that I could devote a lot of mental energy to, and, you know, and I've been working at it ever since.
I'm so glad, because I got to meet you, and I got to
Absolutely.
learn a lot, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I do my best. I'm always trying to do it better. You know, I'm always trying to say, well, what could I do, you know, this better the last time that I did it, you know, and always trying to improve. Like, when you first, this was my experience anyway, when one first starts teaching, you know, I mean, I had lecture notes that were 7 or 8 pages long. Practically every word I intended to say, it was on a paper in front of me, so I could almost just flip through it,
Right.
you know. And, you know, as much as you felt a great sense of accomplishment getting to that last page and say, okay, that's it, everybody, you know, class dismissed. You know, I started to feel like people didn't learn as much as they could, you know. So I started thinking, well, you know, maybe I could go off page a little bit. Maybe I could just talk to people a little bit more than that, you know. And so I started sort of exploring that a little bit, and, you know, and I'm always just trying to make it a little better, you know. Like my compositions, I'm always trying to be a little bit better, you know.
Right, yeah.
Like, I always want the piece I'm working on now to be, and even in my subjective opinion, just a little bit better than that last one. You know, just a little bit more of what I wanted than the last piece I wrote.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an oboe teacher to some, like, middle schoolers, and I didn't know how to start, and I got some advice from people, and eventually I came in there with a script, because one of the advice that was given was have a plan, or the middle
Yes.
schoolers will, like,
They'll eat you alive.
Yeah, exactly. So I came in there with a plan,
Yeah.
and it, like, ran so much more smoother.
Yeah.
But then I, like, realized, like, no one was really, because I'd come back the next day and have to teach them again the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so this is obviously not working. So I have some part script and some part not, you know?
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I'll come in, I'll be like, okay, you're allowed to ask me 2 questions about myself or what happened. And then, like, 2 people get chosen. And then I'm like, okay, that's it. No more questions about myself
about
or
me.
my weekend or anything like that.
We're done. We're moving on to the...
We are moving on. So, and sometimes I'll get questions that aren't about me, and they're like, hey, how do you do this on an oboe? And I'm like, yes, let's go.
Let's go. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Getting to pass on that information, it's so exhilarating. Just as like, I can help you with this. Yeah, that's very exhilarating. And yeah, I had a class once that I never proved this, but I could have sworn they were doing this on purpose. They would, like, get me started talking about, like, they'd get me started talking about football, because at the time I watched football a lot. And so they'd get me started talking about college football, and we'd waste like 20 minutes. And I'm telling you, they did this on purpose. Like, you know, this was like their plan, because every morning, you know, 20 minutes gone talking about football.
Just to avoid that singing in front of other
Just
people.
to avoid singing in front of, yeah.
Yeah. It had to be.
Yeah, so I had to start coming and going, like, okay, guys, no football. No, nope.
No more
We're
football.
We're not talking about football. Yeah. Even though the Rams drafted us, no. No football. We've got work to do.
Yeah, I remember not wanting to sing in front of the class, I'll be honest.
You know, that is, yeah, wow. That is part of the oral skills tradition.
I know.
People, yeah, lots of people don't want, you know, unless you're a vocal performance person, and I think even they don't really want to, in that environment sometimes. But yeah, I think that's just kind of part. Like, I didn't want to do it. When I was taking oral skills, I didn't like singing in front of the whole class. It was terrifying, and my professor would actually like make us get up and come down in front of the class and sing to the class like the class is the audience. And oh man, was it terrifying!
Yeah,
it was terrifying.
Okay, I'm glad you didn't make us go to the front. You just made us stand up at our seats.
Just stand up at our seats. Yeah, I didn't have that level of he was hardcore, man.
Yeah, that would terrify me even more. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
What was like your biggest influences early on that led you down the path?
I was very lucky to have some very good professors who really took interest in me just sort of fulfilling my potential, or trying to fulfill my potential, because I'm this, when I'm 20 years old, I'm this kid from Sylacauga, Alabama, if anybody knows where that is.
No.
If not, don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. It's just a little town in Alabama, and it's like, and I was so full of this, like, I can't go to grad school. I'm not, I can't compose and have, this orchestra play it. That's crazy. I'm just this little, hick Alabama kid, and I was lucky to have some very good professors who was like, no, yes you can. More to the point, yes you are going to, and they kind of pushed me when I didn't want it sometimes, and I'm so glad they did now, because they were right. It's like it was so gratifying to one of my theory professors later was he was just one of the most brilliant people I ever met, and we would just talk theory, and this was in our composition lessons, but we would just talk theory for the longest time, just different theory subjects, but then there's like, what does theory do for us as a composer? Where does theory fit into the role of being a musician? What should we make of all of this? And we would have great conversations. They're just so inspiring, and he was wonderful. So I had some very, very good professors that inspired me to do what I wanted to do. And I try to do that for others now, because that's what got me where I am.
How has technology changed the way you've composed music?
It's made it entirely different. So I'm old. I'm ancient.
I feel like that's why we picked those questions.
Right.
Because we grew up in the age where technology is here.
Tell us about the before time. So when I first started composing, I handwrote everything. Everybody handwrote everything. Music notation software existed, but oh man, was it clunky. It was so clunky, in fact, that what you did was not, because a lot of people will compose straight into Sibelius now, or straight into MuseScore or whatever. Back then, that would have been entirely impossible. This stuff was just such a convoluted dinosaur mess and so what you would do is handwrite everything, and then give it to someone who was well versed in Finale. Was the biggest one. So you would give it to someone who is really, really good at Finale, and maybe you paid them if they, or if they were friends of yours, maybe you appealed to their on their friendship, but you gave that to that, and that person would take what you had handwritten and write it all into Finale for you, and give you back the score. And you had to do that for the full score, and then you had to do that for every individual part.
Oh man.
Yeah, because the whole dynamic parts things like did not yet exist.
No automation like immediately separates parts.
No automation. No playback. There was no playback of any kind. I mean, well, there was, but it wasn't reliable, you know. So, and you know, you couldn't like it would all play back on piano. I remember that, like you couldn't like set the violin to play back on a violin patch, you know, without being really really good at finale and stuff. So, so yeah, most of my first pieces was me sitting at a piano with blank music and a straight edge and a number 2 pencil, you know, and just kind of writing in playing and then writing in notes, playing, writing in notes, you know, and then later it would hopefully become actual sheet music out of finale. Some things I was just giving handwritten stuff to people, which, you know, nowadays that's a great way to get your music thrown in the trash. You know?
Right? Yeah. I mean, you know, it was common back then. Now it's not common anymore.
Not at all. Not at all. And I kind of I definitely embraced the change. Yeah, and I thought it was a good change. I mean, you know, if you go to the English department, you know, they're not sitting around on the old college rule notebooks writing their thesis. Yeah, or typewriters. No, you know, they're in word processors, and you know that's just kind of the way progress is. So, for most of my career, I've sort of composed straight into Sibelius.
Okay.
And they that little piece of software has had some fun times and some fun growth moments. I still write into Sibelius a lot. Nowadays, I will also write directly into Pro Tools. You know, I'll just kind of hit record and play and see what happens with that. I will compose at the piano a lot, you know, and jot down little sketches, you know.
Do you think like modern composers rely too much on the technology, or is it just a part of the like evolution of music, just in general? Like when you look at me or like you know other students around, and we're not like sitting at a piano, you know, and writing it out. Do you think, like, you know, I
you
compose
and your kids and your softwares. And...
yeah, I compose straight into Sibelius. You know, sometimes I'll go to the piano and I'll try to figure it out, but not often.
Well, you know, I don't feel that way because the technology is so advanced now that that's possible. You know, writing straight into notation software or, you know, DAW software, you know, that's possible now. See, it wasn't possible back in the dark ages. You know, that was just a clunky way to write, and you would probably miss a lot of really important things trying to do it that way. Now, it's very much... It's an easy thing to do. I mean, you can put notes in, you can hit spacebar, play it back immediately. You have a real good idea of what's going on in paper. I think there is a danger in trusting the software in some ways. You know, like I think there's a danger in, you know, that that trumpet part. It can play 64th notes above the treble staff in the MIDI. You know, your software can do that no problem. A trumpet player is going to laugh at you. Yeah. You know, so there's a danger in relying on the, you know, and it is exactingly accurate in tempo and things like that. You know, I've seen people, you know, do accelerandi, you know, tempo increases, and they'll increase the tempo like 2 or 3 BPMs above where it was. And I had to tell them, okay, you know, the software can do that. A human player within 2 or 3 BPMs, you know,
not so much.
You're not going to hear a real difference there, right? Yeah. So you know, you have to learn not to trust the software with everything.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but once you learn that, you know, the software is an invaluable tool. It's an absolutely invaluable tool. I would not go back. I would absolutely not go back to handwriting. No.
What advice would you give students trying to get into film, games, or sound design?
So start small. Go actually talk to other humans. And this is advice that I have to give people a lot. You know, composers, we tend to, we like our little space where we can compose, and, you know, we tend to, you know, it's a solitary act to compose, but to get anywhere, you have to go talk to other humans. Preferably other humans who are not composers. That kind of sounds bad. You know, I love my composer friends, but my composer friends are trying to get their pieces played. Go to the film department somewhere like UAB. You know, go find a film student and say, hey, you know, what if I wrote some music for, you know, your next project? You know, it's not hard to find people who will be super jazzed to do that. You know. And then do that, and once you do that, now you've got this. You could say, I wrote the music for this film project. You can put this on your CV or on your resume. I wrote this. Do that a few times. Go to like things like Sidewalk Film Festival and talk to people. So, say, hey, I really liked your movie. Oh, by the way, I'm a composer, right? Go do these human interactions, because that is a world that really does live on, I know this person, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I need somebody to write this music. Oh, well, I know this person who is a composer. Let me see if they would be willing to do it. Mm-hmm. It is really a world that lives on those kinds of transactions. So the more people you know, and the more people that you can, they can think of you when they need that, the easier that is absolutely going to be. I have hung out before, like I have hung out on filmmaker like social media pages, mm-hmm. like like on Facebook pages devoted to filmmakers and things like that. I will join those. So so when so people talk about, oh, I'm starting this film project and stuff, I can message them and go, hey, if you need music for that.
Yeah, for me, I joined a like I don't know what we call it, a community on Discord that was for composers.
Nice.
And currently, like, they have this thing called like job opportunities for like free people.
Oh,
like,
cool.
If you want to not get paid.
Yeah.
And currently, I was like in contact with someone, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you should totally work with game jams?
Yeah.
Where it's like coders have a limited amount of time to work on a project, and then it's like, oh well, we need a composer." So
yeah.
And then they post their stuff on there and being like, I need someone to compose and sound design for this, for this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then actually my boyfriend went out to it was like a tech conference.
Yeah.
And there were 3D animators and
yes.
nothing useful to him. But he plugged me, like he was like, you should talk to my girlfriend. You should talk to my girlfriend.
That is a good boyfriend right there.
Yeah, I know.
He is thinking about you. Yeah.
He came back
Kudos.
and he was like, I got so many connections for you. Like Stanford guy is like, I don't know why Stanford and UAB aren't communicating, because we need composers for our video game projects. And I was like, oh. Yeah,
well, there you go, yeah. And yeah, you will be amazed at how these people are siloed off. And like composers are siloed off, and filmmakers are siloed off, and like video games, they're all siloed, and especially like in the academic environment, they can be super not communicating with each other at all. Yeah. So if you're the person who's communicating with everybody, who's going, who's going out of their silo and going to other people and saying, a lot of opportunities can happen that way.
Your band.
Yes.
Okay. Do you compose for that?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So, I'm assuming you're talking about the Sundials, right? That's the
is that the one that Emily's in?
That's the one.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
Sundials. Yes.
Yeah. I do compose of that. I would say about a quarter or so, maybe a quarter to a third or so of the music we play are my compositions. Mm-hmm. So, it has been extremely fun and extremely enlightening to play to compose for this group. It's a very eclectic group, and yeah, I compose a lot for that.
How do you handle like scheduling? Like, you obviously play at like different places. I know. The last time I tried to go to one of them, it was at a bar, and I could not that day.
Understand.
I've been like trying to go to other band groups and being like, hey, I can do photography of your band for free of no charge. Yeah. Trying to get a backing up here. But every time I try to do it, like, I either can't go or someone cancels. So, I mean, that was at a bar, but how do you like schedule those kind of things?
Like the gigs?
Yeah, the gigs.
Talk to people. My wife, Sharon, is amazing at talking to people. It's very hard for me. I have to, she's very good at just kind of naturally, so like that bar gig, that was a true story. We just kind of, went in and, well, actually I take that back. We actually had friends who were supposed to play there and had to cancel that gig. So when we learned that they were going to have to cancel that gig, we immediately jumped in and said, hey, we can play that gig for you.
Huh.
And so we played that there. And when we played that, the owners of True Story were like, well, hey, if you guys ever want to come back, and it's like, we've got a slot on St. Patrick's Day. It's like, hey, great, we'll do that.
Yeah, see?
So it's just sort of forging those relationships, right? We were friends with the band who had to cancel, and that's how we got that.
That's how you got that gig.
And then now we have the connection with them, and got another gig.
So talk to people.
Talk to people. Go talk to humans. I can't think of a piece of advice that has helped me better than just go talk to other humans.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. They're very nice sometimes, not all the time, but enough to be worth it.
How would you describe your composition style?
So I've gone through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've been composing for a long time, and I've gone through a lot of different sort of phases. When I first started composing, it was very much, it was very much a classical and orchestral tonal style.
Mm-hmm.
I went through a phase that was more expanded tonality, and more pantonality. Got into polytonality pretty hard.
Okay.
Around the time I was getting my doctorate, so a lot of my pieces now, if you go back and look at my YouTube page or whatever, you'll see a lot of pieces that are polytonal structured, multiple keys at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a lot lately into sort of the minimalists, and trying to, because I started feeling like, man, this music can be so simple and yet so moving. If you listen to to Ostinato by Simeon Tenault, or like Fratris by Arvo Pärt, anything by John Tavener whatsoever. It's like this music is very, very simple, but it's also very emotionally powerful. And so I thought, oh man, I'm just working too hard. So I started getting into making music that was minimal and simple and meditative and transcendent. Found out that was way harder. It is way harder to put exactly the right note in exactly the right place when it might be the only note for 8 measures. Yeah, it's way harder than writing, than putting black dots all over the place. But that's kind of where I am now. It is sort of attempting to bring people into a sort of experience that they might not get otherwise, that is meditative, that is transcendent, that is calming, that sort of frees us from the anxieties that we're all dealing with in these modern times.
What are the common mistakes you see students make when preparing for the industry? Like the industry for like music, let's just say music in general.
Two big things. They often don't take advantage of the opportunities to learn some of the amazing things they can learn.
Mm-hmm.
College can be an amazing time, where these people just walking around the halls are absolute experts.
Mm-hmm.
We have a colleague in common, Craig Brandwine.
Right.
That guy's amazing.
Yeah.
He's an absolute expert at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And the nicest guy, just kind of walking around the halls at UAB,
Yes.
They don't take the opportunity to stop and pick the brains of those people.
Nope.
They don't take the opportunity to really learn how to use, when you're sitting there in front of something like Pro Tools or Omnisphere, these things can cost a lot of money, right? And you've got this opportunity to sit here for free and learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are sort of, start concentrating on, well, I've just got to make this grade to pass,
Mm-hmm.
And they get caught up in that. I certainly did. And don't take advantage of those opportunities to learn all that great stuff while they are there, while they have that opportunity. They also, again, they don't want to talk to humans. You know, they think, have. There was a time in my career where I applied to every competition I could find.
Mm-hmm.
It did not prove fruitful, not for me. I didn't win very often at all.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. It very seldom went anywhere when I did win. So, that didn't help. Posting to, composition boards and into groups and all that. That was all great. That was all fine. It was fun, and nice. But to me, that has never been nearly as fruitful and led to nearly as many good things as just making friends with people.
Mm-hmm.
Just making friends with other musicians and other people who can help you in your career and will want to help you in your career if you're their friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those two things are things that many people trying to get off the ground kind of don't appreciate well enough. They're kind of sitting around, sitting in their in their comfort zones, thinking, I don't know what to do. I can't get out of.
Yeah, I'm very much afraid to talk to people.
I
won't lie.
I am too. It is not something that comes naturally to me.
I mean, when I saw Dr. Panion walking around, I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
That probably was not the best, but I knew nothing about him.
He's another one, an absolute expert at what he does.
Exactly.
And he talking about the connections that he can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wish I had talked to him sooner, to be honest. I really...
You still can. You remember who you are.
Yes, of course he does, but I wish I had, start talking to him when I got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these are mistakes I made too. These are mistakes I made too when I was young and foolish, and I thought, well, I'll just send my scores to places, and somebody will like it and they'll decide to play it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it works that way. Most often, for me, it hasn't. Most often, when I've gotten things performed, it's been because I had some kind of relationship where I was like, well, hey, will you, can you take a look at this, see what you think?
For a very good example, for me, I reached out to my oboe professor, and he runs an oboe intensive camp every summer, and it's being held at UAB. And I was like, hey, I remember we don't have enough oboe repertoire.
Right.
You want me to compose a couple of things? And they were like, why have we never thought about this?
Why have we never thought about that? Absolutely.
So I'm doing that currently this summer.
Excellent.
So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, that connection and stuff, and I knew that there were a couple of pieces that can have 4 to 5 oboes. But I mean that oboe intensive camp, there's 20 students. Or even I think the biggest we had was 35.
Wow.
35
That's
oboes
a lot
in
of oboes.
one room. Just all making reeds and all playing. It's all different skill levels too. You've got absolute beginners to absolute experts,
Yeah. Yeah.
Intimidating.
It can fun. Be. It can definitely be. Oh man, I had professors that intimidated me so much. I was just afraid to talk to them. They seem so intimidating.
Well, I mean, you've never came off that way to me. So.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I try to learn. I try to be the kind of professor I wanted and appreciated when I had, and not the kind that I didn't. So I'm glad. I try to be approachable. But yeah, some of those people, and being on the other side of it now, I teach a lot of these classes, I realized, oh man, they were just people. They were just people just like me. I probably shouldn't have been so intimidated. They would probably like to have talked to me about some of these things I wanted to talk about. But
is it fair to say that for that Dr. Panion, I was kind of intimidated only because he would spawn in random places, and by the time I see him just walk by all tall, and I'm just looking upwards.
Yeah, and he is very tall.
And then some days I feel like when I need to speak to him, I feel like I'm literally cornering that man just so I can say something. Every single times I've spoken to him, whether it was about internships or even what's his name, James from Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Both of them, I'm about to be a junior.
Yeah.
after the semester ends. Both of them, in so many words, when I asked them about internships, they both were like, whoa, 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 slow down for a second. I'm like, I'm just want to get ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get any ideas until like, what was it, 2 weeks before this semester ended, before I had to do my internship.
Yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes. I think they can be sort of used to that, you know, used to like, okay, well, like, you know, the last week of the semester before, we're going to figure out your internship, you know. It's
Yeah.
like,
And then here comes me, years before,
No,
2 years, semesters before it, coming in hot, like, internship. I just became a tech major.
Internship.
You were exactly like me, because I walked into one of Dr. Panion's classes and he was listing out an assignment and I literally interrupted him. I didn't interrupt. I raised my hand. I asked my question and it was something really specific. And I was like, can you just clarify? And he was like, man, you really need specific details, don't you? And I'm like, I need them. Yes, because I asked him how long do you want it? And he goes, as long as you'd like. And I'm like, so I can make it 59 seconds? And he goes, okay, well, I think that's the actual like conversation. We had.
So let me speak on behalf of all music professors here, and probably all college professors in general. When all right, so when you say, well, how long do you want it? I'm aware that we never give a satisfactory answer to that question. I know, and we're not trying to be vague. Honestly, when most assignments are not about length in the mind of your professor. Most assignments are about, well, are you going to complete this assignment fully, and are you going to do all the things I'm hoping to see you do in it? You know, explore the topic fully, or you know, utilize the software fully, you know. So most professors, we're looking for that, you know. Most professors, we're looking for that. So when, you know, so you say, how long do you want to be? As long as it takes to do that. You know, it's like, you know, what is it? And I know how unsatisfactory that sounds, because I've also been a student. And I've been like, yeah, but how long?
For me, it's like, I need the expectation of, like, at least give me, like, 1 minute or longer. I'll always make it longer than 1 minute, but I need to know what is the bare minimum, because I don't know, it's just, you know, I need specifics. That's just how I work. I need weeks or years in advance.
You should write a dissertation, and it's like, and be like, okay, well, I know it's supposed to be huge. Like, how long? I know it's supposed to be big, but like, how long? And
how long?
You know, we'll see what you come up with. But
but
like, if you need more, I can come up with more, though. It's like, let's just see what you... Oh, man.
I totally freak out. I'd go back home and I'd be like to my parents, they want me to write a dissertation, but they didn't tell me how long.
They don't even tell you what on.
Oh, no.
Like you choose the topic of your... They're not even going to tell you what to write. Just write something and make it good. That's about the... And yeah, freaking out is... I freaked out once a day. I mean...
I'm curious, because I'm in the midst of also making my portfolio. What does a strong portfolio look like to you?
So, like, portfolio to, like, get into grad school for composition?
Or? Not just that, it can be that, but also, like, job portfolio for, like, if you're, like, example, one of my dream jobs is probably, why'd I do that? Oh my gosh. For example, one of my dream goals is to, like, work in a studio environment, getting hired as and be part of, like, the production crew of, like, whatever from film, a group, whatever was going on, like that.
So they want to see that you did stuff. So I worked at, and you know, you're asking about internships. This might be a good thing to think about. You know, they want to see that you worked at Audio State. They want to see what you did there. You know, not that you were just making the coffee, but that, you know, you were, you know, the lead producer sometimes, you know, and that, you know, you were doing setup sometimes, you know, stagehand work, you know, being involved in the production at things like Red Mountain Theater, or, you know, all very, very important. They want to see that you did stuff. Like, you know, having the degree is great. But when you get out into the cold, cruel world like that, it's really about what you can do, you know.
Do licenses also take into that account?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Your portfolio really it has to be sort of, it can be sort of tailored to what you're trying to get, right? Like and I've kind of learned this the hard way, you know, with a portfolio that's like, you know, I have taught music on every level imaginable, you know, but you know, you go in and try to take that to you know, to try to go be a, you know, an audio engineer somewhere, and they're like, you know, that's not what they're looking for, right? You know, but you know, now to go teach somewhere, that's exactly what they're looking for, right? And so you sort of have to tailor it, having a good idea of what you want to do, and then putting yourself into the situations where you can gain experience in doing that. Is probably the best advice I can give. And then, you know, your portfolio has a whole lot of things on it that they're looking for because that's what they want you to do, and you're showing them that you have done that and can do that, you know. And that's where you guys are just y'all and others, other students and other people we know, y'all are amazing, is because you have such a crystal clear, like, career goal compared to where I was. Yeah. Again, you know, like just this little hit kid from Alabama. Like I'm just here because I like music, man. I don't know. You know, I'm just hanging out here. You know, I'm taking classes and learning stuff because, you know, this is fun to me. I had no idea what I wanted to.
I feel like the reason why I have such a clear crystal goal is because my parents have always drilled into my head that I need a crystal clear goal. Like, what do you mean you're going into music? What part? Love my parents for that. That's great.
They're doing you a favor. Take it from me. Take it from me. They're doing you a favor. It may not always feel like it.
Because, like, I used to serve at the Office of Public Information as my internship, and I'm, like, super happy about it. It was great experience. But now I know how to do videos and editing, and now I know how to do a podcast. And I did several compositions for them, actually.
And there you go,
enough.
yeah.
And that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Those aren't published yet. They're going to be.
Yeah.
Supposedly. But... yeah, the portfolio thing also speaks to me because it's like, I'm about to graduate. I really hope I have enough I mean, from what I've talked to other people in, like, the video game composition area. They're like, you do have enough, but you don't have enough in the video game area.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to get to.
And and the thing is, like, every composer wants to do that these days.
Yes.
You know, if I talk to 3 student composers about, you know, what they want to do, 2 of them say, I want to compose music for video games, and the third one is strongly considering it. You know, it's what everybody wants to do. So you're in sort of competition with everybody.
That's okay, because I'm okay with composing for anything, really.
Yeah.
I think it's fun composing for orchestras. I have not done wind ensembles, which is interesting because
you've played in them.
I've played in them. I've also played in orchestra though, so I need to do wind ensembles. I need to fix that. I haven't composed anything for those. That's crazy. Now think about it.
Yeah, experience in composing for orchestra both helps and doesn't when you sit down at wind ensemble.
Yeah. I think the wind ensembles, because I got taught through orchestration, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then I also knew a lot more about it because my first composition was an orchestration.
I remember that.
So
your idea, by the way. I didn't...
Well, okay, but I had one previous before that was also.
Yes. Less people think I just start making you write for orchestra.
No, that was my idea completely. But I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yes, you did.
You know, I wrote a whole orchestra in one night. That one, I do not recommend that.
No.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But
no.
yeah,
And it sounded beautiful too. It came out great.
Oh, I think I absolutely love that piece. That's like one of my favorites. Actually, it should be my favorite because I worked a lot of time on it, especially the other movements.
Yeah.
You know, that you weren't involved in until like the really end of it.
Once we got that guy out of the picture, yeah, it turned good. You know.
Do you remember the first piece of music you ever created?
So a fun anecdote I tell people a lot is I wrote my first song at 4.
You what?
It was a song about my bike.
No, wait, you wrote your first song at 4, and it was
at
about
4 years
your bike.
old, and it was about my bike.
Bicycle.
My bicycle, yeah.
With training wheels or not?
They were probably off by that point because
Okay.
I was Gen X and we were not concerned with our own self-preservation. Yeah, so it was a song about my bike, and I wrote it at 4. That's the fun anecdote I tell people. I quote unquote made up, because I didn't have the words, a song when I was 8, sitting at my uncle's keyboard. Because I was at my grandmother's, and my uncle had brought his keyboard over, and while everybody else is in the other room having dinner or whatever, big family dinner, I'm back there, and I wrote this little thing, and I can still play it to this day, which is kind of insane. But my first thing that I seriously know, this is a composition that I composed. I was an undergrad. It was my junior senior year. Mm-hmm. And I had just taken orchestration, and I thought, oh, cool, okay. So I sat down and started trying to write an orchestra piece. And I called it my first symphony because there was no hubris in me whatsoever, right? But yeah, that was probably my first that kind of got put on a sheet music and this is an actual composition. Mm-hmm. Unless you want to count like songs I wrote for bands and stuff like that. Which
I guess it's up to you what you consider your first.
Yeah,
I consider my first is Familia because that's the one that got performed by an orchestra.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So the first one I ever got performed was, I think it was probably it was for Computer Music Ensemble, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in that ensemble long before I was the director of it, and so it was sort of just kind of a heavy MIDI kind of cool piano thing, and it got performed at that concert. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a very long time ago.
What's one unexpected place you found inspiration from?
The death of loved ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that hits. Because,
yeah,
Daisies
just
in the
got
Wind.
real. Yeah.
Daisies in the Wind was because of a death of a loved one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a complicated relationship, but it's still a death of a loved one at most.
Yeah, I have seen a lot of people die, and some of the people I have seen die, I thought had stopped my composition career forever. Mm-hmm. I thought that after that kind of tragedy, I was just not a composer anymore. I just wasn't going to have it in me. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, I did still have it in me, and that experience shaped me, and in turn shaped my music. Mm-hmm. And that was something I didn't see coming. That was definitely something I didn't see coming.
Yeah, I feel like one of mine is probably it's disabilities and diseases. So Alzheimer's disease, and just I've grown up with a lot of people with Alzheimer's, in my family and stuff, and we currently have one person.
I'm sorry.
And it is what it is, as I like to say. And currently, disabilities, I've got a learning disability and stuff. But I find, that brings inspiration to me.
Yeah.
But it's not from, a happy place, majority of the time. It's more from, a sorrow. I try to have hope at the end of it to encourage myself,
I don't know if this is just me, but I don't feel like a lot of my music comes from particularly happy places. Mm-hmm. And, I feel like that unhappiness seems to just, for whatever reason, be a better wellspring of musical and compositional inspiration And maybe other people love composing about really happy stuff, and good for them. But when I'm trying to draw inspiration, for a lot of my life, it's been from things that were not what you would consider quote unquote happy.
Right, yeah.
It's been different, and I can back that up. Look at the personal lives of all of the composers. Those people were by and large a mess, right? So maybe there's some credence to the idea that a little bit of unhappiness at least can be kind of necessary. It's not the way you want to think about it, but it seems to be kind of true. In some way.
I was just about to ask you, what would you consider happy places or unhappy? Because I was also listening to what you two were saying. When it comes to death of loved ones, I've actually reconsidered my job because of a recent death. That when I got in UAB, I was thinking of being a mortician.
Wow.
That was for a good 3 months. That was a wild ride.
Yeah.
And then most of my music, seeing colors is one thing, and then also the fact it ranges. A lot of darker media inspires me that deals with like from death all the way to like more I say spiritual as in like the supernatural in a way.
Right.
Those things too. Even my own spite. If I hear something that I'm like, I like what you did, but you just ruined it for me, and so I want to make it better out of spite of it.
I have done that. I've done spite compositions. Is absolutely true.
Most of the stuff that I want to do, especially in electronic music, I like the artists. I really do it because I still listen to them to this day. It's just there are times I'm just like, the organ would be better right there. Let me put that in there.
Yeah.
How about some dynamics and better compression right here? Yeah. Turn the bass up because everything is turned up. I can't hear that bass.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that. I have experienced that too. Yeah. Absolutely. I have listened to composers and thought, this is a great idea for a piece, but like I feel like if I just tried to do the same thing, it would come out better. Maybe just better for me. Who knows? But yeah, I have absolutely done that. It takes an enormous ego to be a composer. It does. When you think about it, I mean, there's all of this music that already exists in the world. The entire classical repertoire, right? Already exists in the world. There's all this stuff out there, and we sit here and we think, yeah, no, I have something meaningful to contribute to all of this. Just you wait. Just let me go. Write some things and come back and see this. It takes an ego. It takes a type of self-confidence to say, this is something that I can do, and it will be just as valuable listening to my music as it would be listening to Bach, or listening to the Beatles, or or listening to anything else.
When you when you've had a composition, like you've written a composition and then it gets like performed or played, or you put it on the internet.
Yep.
Have you ever had like a reaction with someone who like just comes up to you and be like, "You have changed my life. Like this was a fantastic, amazing."
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the best part in some ways, is that they'll come up and say all kinds of things. But it's like I get a lot of that was really, really good, and that's fine. I love that. I had somebody say once, like, your piece was really pretty, and he says, "Is that okay to say? Just pretty?" Because like she was afraid she hadn't gotten into it, and it's like, no, pretty is great. I will take pretty. I will take pretty all day long. Thank you.
There's like only 2 compositions I have done where I've gotten a reaction with someone that they've like came up to me and personally have said something.
Yeah.
One of them was Anxiety, and I was like, "I'm glad you enjoyed it." And she looked it back at me, and she gave me a look of just. Enjoyed is not the correct. But we'll go with that.
Enjoyed is not, it resonated a chord that needed striking in me, which is different from enjoying exactly.
Exactly.
But I've had people say, things like, your music made me think in a different way. I love that.
Yeah, me too. I would love someone to say that to me.
That one was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Oh man, getting like feedback from people, just how it made them feel, and just feeling like that wash a wave of like relief that it actually like worked.
It actually worked. Yeah.
And like sometimes we make music just to sound pretty.
Yeah.
You know, and you know.
And there's a place for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think what we all really want is to write music that really strikes people in that way. And you form that kind of bond with that other person, because you manage to bridge that gap to that other human being. I think that's what we're all really after. Yeah, we love writing pretty music, but I think in our heart of hearts, most composers, they want that connection.
Right. Yeah.
They want people to say, "Oh wow, something changed in me because I heard this," and
I agree.
Yeah.
As a composer. Oh man, I gotta call myself that.
Yes, you do. You are one.
Yay.
Might as well get used to it. Then I did have one people once say my piece was too long. That was their only comment. That was a little too long.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of walked away.
And they walked away.
And I have remembered for like 20 years.
Oh, and then you try to like not make everything too long.
Yeah, now everything's shorter than
what it would originally be.
Yeah, well now everything's either shorter than it would have been, or it's like 15 minutes just because, just to spite that person.
What's the weirdest sound you've ever recorded or used?
What's the weirdest sound I've ever recorded and or used? Oh wow, let me think. So when I was at UGA, I got my doctorate at UGA. So when I was at UGA, I don't know if it really qualifies as a weird sound, but they had a monochord, which is, so back in the Middle Ages, musicians basically derived what would become our chromatic scale from the overtone series of a string, right? So they strung this string along this large box of wood. It was about 6 feet high, and they marked off the ratios, basically where the harmonics are. And this is the overtone series, but then they get the notes that become the perfect fifth, and then the perfect octave, and then even higher up, the third, and so that's how they derived all of the pitches we have. So the ethnomusicology department at Georgia had one. Somebody had built a monochord.
Oh. And
I was like, I gotta use this thing. So I stole it. My friend of mine and I, we took it out of the class, brought it down 3 flights of stairs into the recording lab, and spent the better part of the night just doing all the different harmonics, then doing the thing, and then beating on the other side, and making all these sounds we could make with this monochord. And then, we were going to do so much more with it, but like the next day we got word that like the ethnomusicology professor was looking for her monochord. So I was like, oh,
put it back.
Yeah. So we kind of grabbed it and took it back up 3 more flights of stairs back to where it was, and she passed us in the hall taking her monochord back and gave us the dirtiest look. Didn't say anything, just gave us the dirtiest look. But I still have that piece with all those monochord samples, and never forget that.
Oh man, that's a good. I think I've heard that one. I didn't know about the dirty look or that she caught y'all.
Yeah,
I think you did say you took a monochord. I remember that.
Yeah.
But not the whole story. That's really good.
Yes, and we did put it back. It went right back to where we found it. So, but yeah. Gave us the dirtiest look. I mean, we were so caught. We were so busted. Oh, wow. Yeah. I've also used like air conditioners and and bird sounds and getting owls. There used to be these owls that lived behind my house, and I got lots of samples of their different calls and things.
I have also used an air conditioner now.
Yeah.
My weirdest one now has to be a garbage truck.
Garbage, yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I've used a garbage truck sound, but what are the garbage, like, the trash cans that they pick up?
Yeah.
The lids. When you open it up
The
and it makes that noise.
that clunk, yeah.
Yep, that's got to be the weirdest sound I've used now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Ever drop a gong in a tub of water?
No.
Try that.
Wouldn't that damage the gong, though?
No.
No.
Not really. I mean, it gets it wet, but, you can dry it off.
And then move out your day. Yeah.
And then move on your day, yeah. Preferably use one of the ethnomusicology departments. I'm kidding. Don't steal gongs. It's not right.
We do not condone
We do
stealing.
not condone.
Don't steal.
We do not condone gong theft.
Just ask permission first.
Ask permission first.
How is it that any musician, or just even not even a musician at this point, composers, whatever, to get the end goal, we have like the most craziest stories leading up to this creation. Like this is not the craziest one, but like, or just like the life of a musician in general. Like, for example, one of the composers for a clarinet repertoire, Carl Maria von Weber, found out that once he was like appointed in like a royal court somewhere. I cannot recall it. Please don't ask full details. I just know that he got drunk. It was like a party of some type. He got drunk so badly that his employer was embarrassed of him because of how bad he got drunk and kicked him out.
I believe
fired.
I believe it.
And then one of the most famous this is not a crazy story, but like how clarinet composition was written in under 6 days. I think it was 3 actually.
Yeah.
That was more believable. Just the fact that like the most craziest things happen.
Oh yeah, some of those composers had definitely interesting lives. I heard a story once about Haydn threatening to leave the Esterhazy court because Count Esterhazy had decided that the musicians ought not have wine while they're performing, and Haydn was like, no, we're not going to work under these conditions, and would not perform until they gave him their wine back. But yeah,
I mean, I hate wine, so I could come. You can work under those conditions, man. I'm sorry.
But I find it interesting that when looking at the older composers, that there's like 4 different types I've seen. I've kind of peeped out. There's either the very depressed.
Mm-hmm.
There's the I'm looking at Wagner specifically with this one, Bigot.
Yeah.
That one. It makes beautiful music. Side eye. It was a big tangent. I learned.
Quote unquote. I'm not a big Wagner fan. You're not. Yeah. Beautiful quote unquote. I mean, okay. Let's for the sake of argument.
Bombastic. I said how big.
Very big music. Let's say
that.
Well, you know what Brahms said about Wagner is better than it sounds.
What? Wait. Okay.
It's better than it sounds.
It's better than it sounds. That was a Brahms quote. I'm pretty sure he was talking about Wagner, one of those Wagner operas. Yeah.
Okay. It was that one, because I'm side-eyeing him specifically. The Closeted Gay. I've noticed that.
Mm-hmm.
Most artists.
Handle.
Yeah. And just, there's like a mix of all 3, and the secret 5th one is just a guy.
Just a guy. Yeah,
that rare one that you get that's like, oh, you're normal.
Yeah.
Quotations over
Quotations,
there.
yeah.
Quotations.
I'm just a guy that does this thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's amazing. Those categories fall into modern contemporary academic composers too.
Mm-hmm.
With a few new variations.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's super nerd. There's the academic composers. There's just super nerd.
Yeah.
Right, and he's studying constellations and making pitch classes out of that, and then there is old grumpy guy, who's nobody plays good music anymore, kind of.
Grandpa.
Yeah, grandpa. Yeah.
My grandpa, shout out.
Yeah.
And my dad, because they're both like that.
Yeah. I dealt with a few of those guys. It's like it's all going downhill. You know, it's like you know, composers these days they just don't.
I've heard that exact sentence.
Yeah. It's like we used to have to handwrite all of our scores. Like, oh, man,
Or
really?
I forgot what my dad said. He said something we had to like punch in everything manually.
Yeah.
Manual sounds and stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know.
back when they used to work on tape. Yeah. I was like, yeah, we used to have to take the razor blade to the tape and cut it out and paste it somewhere else, and you know, and do all this stuff. And it's like
We had to retake
okay.
like 50 times just to get the perfect one. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Had to churn your own butter while you were at it.
Turning on your own butter isn't. I mean, I guess maybe it is hard. I haven't done it yet.
I actually have a butter churn. I have not yet churned butter in it, but I do own one, so I could. Oh, butter's like $2.19 though, so maybe I won't. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it's butter.
It's butter.
I'm not a big fan of butter, so I mean, I'm okay with things like not it on things like butter itself. I will never eat butter by itself.
No, I can't do that. Cooking, I'll cook with butter.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's just we say I would never eat butter by itself, which understandable. I'm the same way. I tried one time when I was little. Don't recommend, kids. Whoever's listening, try it. Don't do it. I mean, do it if you want to. Don't taste good, but just now realizing some people do it. Which again, not judging you.
There are people who just eat butter. Yeah,
who eat butter.
Like no judgment. You do you, but at the same time, like, huh?
I think it's just a level of butter tolerance. Like, you know, like a tablespoon of butter in my rice. That's lovely. I love that. That's great. You know, but to just eat butter, I don't think I can.
I don't really like buttery things. Like
really?
Salmon. Salmon is like I stay away from it because it's too buttery.
It's too buttery, huh?
Yeah, it's gross to me.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, I used to have buttery rice, so it was like I would eat the outer edges because it wasn't buttery, but that center was like it was a texture thing for me. But anything else with butter, like I can put it on pancakes or something else. Yeah. I'm chill with it. Yeah. I think it was put in something else even butter popcorn. I can do that.
Yeah.
But just the rice itself. You can call me a plain Jane. I will eat it just like it is.
And I have to watch how much butter I eat because cholesterol. Because I'm old, ancient. You know, eat what you want now while you can eat what you want. How's that for advice?
How did your path lead to you teaching at UAB?
Wow, how did my path lead to me teaching at UAB? Pure serendipity. And absolute my willing to be very, very annoying to the very kind and gracious Dr. Patrick Evans, who I annoyed no end. He's such a nice guy. But so I got my doctorate in 2015, and I came back to Birmingham, and just kind of started looking around like, okay, you know, now what? I actually taught at Birmingham Southern for a while, just doing like literally whatever they needed. Like, you know, one semester I'd teach world music, the next semester I would teach theory, the semester after that, you know, I was teaching tech and just whatever they can. And after a couple of years, I want to say it was 2018, what actually happened was the main theory professor was going on a sabbatical. And again, this was a question of my knowing people because, you know, I knew people in the music department, you know, because, you know, I had been a graduate of there back in the day. And I had other friends in just sort of the community. So they were looking for somebody to teach his classes while he was on sabbatical. And so my name just kind of came up. Okay. Right? Yeah. And they're like, well, would you know, you're back into town, you know, would you like to do this? I'm like, absolutely. So I taught the theory classes while Dr. Price, I don't know whose names we are or not. We're dropping names everywhere.
I mean, yeah, we've dropped Dr. Price's name a lot.
Yeah, okay. So while Dr. Price was on sabbatical, I taught his theory classes.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, that would have probably been the end of it if I did not mercilessly email/solicit the wonderful and gracious Dr. Patrick Evans, like every day, like, hey, you know, I was like, I know William's coming back, but like, you know, if you need me to teach anything else, you know, it's like, does anything else come up? It's like, is there any polls in your, you know, like anything, like every day I'm emailing this person, you know.
Do you need me? Do you need me?
Do you need me? Do you need me? Do you need me? Come on. What do you got? What do you got?
Please,
I'll teach you
please.
anything. I'll teach. Come on. Yeah. I'll teach biology. I don't care. Come on. What do you got? And so I think he kind of relented. And the guy said, well, actually, yeah, there's a couple of classes, you know, you can teach if you want. Like, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Sign me up. And so here I am, you know. Mm-hmm. It is kind of growing. I teach more classes now than that, but yeah, it has grown since then. You know, I'm still around.
And you enjoy it a lot.
I do. I really
can tell.
do. And I think that's important. And I think one of the greatest things about UAB is that, you know, all of the professors there, you know, we kind of have this mentality of, you know, our job is to make y'all into the best musicians that we can, you know. We're not saying, okay, it's like, okay, when this class is over so I can run back and finish my research, you know. Mm-hmm. We're kind of, you know, we're focused on the students there. And I find that very rewarding, and I like it a lot.
I love the music program at UAB. I will highly recommend it to everyone I go to.
It is a great place. I mean, no music department anywhere is perfect, but they've got a lot going on. They've got a lot to say for themselves. Mm-hmm. Or ourselves, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
What's an instrument you love using in your compositions?
Contrabassoon. I love the contrabassoon so much. That instrument just, I mean, you can almost count the vibrations when it gets really low. Kind of goes whoa, 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 whoa. It's just great. I love the contrabassoon. I compose a lot for cello because I think the cello sounds very much like the human voice. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know the range in a cello is huge. It's an amazing instrument. So I compose a lot for cello. I compose a lot for strings. You know, all of those things are kind of my sort of go-tos. You know? So yeah, any of that. Yeah. There's not a lot I won't compose for. I don't suppose. There's some things that I probably wouldn't be very good at, but.
I mean, I've never composed for... Have I composed for contrabassoon? No.
You should try it.
I haven't. I haven't yet.
You have to find somebody who has a contrabassoon, but it's...
Exactly.
But
you have to find someone first.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's easy to compose for oboe. Because I've got someone who's willing to play it. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about myself, by the way.
Yeah. Do I hear a hint? Should I be composing for oboe?
I mean, I would play it.
Yeah.
I play English horn too. I love both of them.
I'll send some stuff your way. You know.
You should.
I'm actually writing a lot of oboe music these days with Emily playing in the sundial, so you know I'm getting good at it.
You should send some English horn music my way then.
English horn, definitely.
I've got a beautiful sounding English horn. It's great.
I will take that under consideration for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
As you should.
Same for clarinet or sax.
I've got clarinet music. I'll have to send you some. Yeah.
Or sax.
Or sax. I have a saxophone quartet, so if you have three friends.
I mean, I got a saxophone I can play. You've got me. I play sax. I used to play sax and jazz, like
hey, there you go.
In high school.
There you go.
Oboe and saxophone are really similar in fingering wise. Everything else is different. Amish are different. Everything else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm learning so much about the oboe. It's so great. Yeah.
She was on the podcast like a while ago.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And we were talking about the difference between a forked F and a regular F and a left F, and how composers can kind of mess us up on that, and they don't realize that just because you can put it down on a page doesn't mean that an oboe can do it comfortably.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's ultimate
great advice for all composers, and that's true for every instrument too. Mm-hmm. You should really make friends with people who play the instruments you're writing for. One, because they'll play it. Two, because they can steer you away from some of the greatest issues.
I feel like it should be like people that you know who will play it, but also be able to critique you.
Yeah.
profusely, like just like a ton.
Yeah.
Because some people they don't want to critique.
Or they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Exactly. But I want people who would be like, no.
No. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. No. That's exactly. That's exactly true. Yeah, and you need that. And I've always wanted that. It's like, no, tell me where I'm not doing this right. I want to do it right.
Yeah.
Another good old man story. So the first time I ever tried to write a piece for Gene Fambro, Dr. Fambro of Percussion Ensemble fame.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a piece for cello and tenor and marimba, and I was going to have him play the marimba. I'd never written for marimba before, but it's like, okay, this is basically a piano that you hit with mallets. Turns out, no. And like I gave him this part, and he came back and he's like, okay, no. It's like, let's go back to the drawing board on this. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a great guy. He could have just thrown it in the trash. That's probably what he should have done. Mm-hmm. But it's like, no, let's go back to the drawing board on this. Let me explain some things about the marimba. Let me explain some things that are easy and some things that are hard. And so I rewrote that marimba part so that it was definitely much better. Came off fine. So grateful to him to this day for taking the time to just say, no. You're not writing good for marimba. Let's do this.
It's funny. I don't know if it was Dr. Bradwine or Dr. Hanyon, but he also mentioned a marimba problem. And they were either one of them, I don't know who it was, but they were writing for marimba, and they were like, why does this not sound good?
Yeah.
And a marimba player goes by and he goes, because that's not possible for one player to do. So we had to literally like cut like some of the notes out. I don't remember. But he was like, something was off, and so apparently it was because they can't play that many notes.
That was kind of the advice I was given, actually, is like, there's too many notes. Like, you can't really play that many, Mm-hmm. You've got to remember that it's a percussion instrument first, right? And so it's more about playing the notes in rhythm than it is playing a bunch of different notes.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it's that's so hilarious. Yeah. Take care before you write for marimba.
Yeah, I wrote for marimba too, but I was like, I'm not familiar, and my high school, they were like, all the percussionists played marimba at some point, so I looked at their music and just observed them mainly.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, to keep myself on the safe side, I had a piano and marimba in the same piece, so the piano was doing a bit more stuff, and the marimba was more like arpeggios.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe 2 note chords, but nothing more than you need 2 mallets for.
Yeah, right.
What I remember. I'm scared to look at that piece.
So there you go. So you did it right. You like observed actual marimbas playing.
I don't know all the nuances though.
Yeah.
I may mess up one day.
Yeah, I have an ex-percussionist as my boyfriend. He
there
used
you
to
go.
play as a percussionist, so I just send all my percussion parts to him and be like, hey, is this possible? Yeah. I remember submitting one of my orchestration projects to him, but he didn't have time to look at it.
Yeah.
And then he looked at it and he was like, your timpani part is bad.
Is bad.
And I said, yeah, I got a 0 on it. Dr. Phillips. It was so bad.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, as you should have.
Oh my gosh. Now I feel bad. Did I say anything, or did I just?
I think I was so tired. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah. Okay.
I should have gone over my notes a bit and like actually read what a marimba can do, because he was like, okay, marimba can't do this, marimba can't do that, marimba can't. I'm like,
yeah.
Okay. I also had a problem with my timpani too.
Yeah.
So timpani was hard.
Yeah. I do know people will often sort of not realize that a timpani is sort of limited to the notes you tune the drums to, right?
Yeah.
You've got 5 notes.
Yeah.
And you can pick those 5 notes, but you've only got 5, right?
Yep.
So, a lot of people kind of get the red ink for that.
Yeah, that was also me.
Why was music 3 the hardest?
don't know.
You expect the 4th one to be hardest.
No, because the 4th one is 20th century music, so you're basically just reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. You're just math.
Yeah, you're just mathing. Music theory 3 is the pinnacle of tonal harmony. Mm-hmm. So that's where you're learning the most advanced tonal harmony concepts. The modulations with the fully diminished 7 chords.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget what Koska Payne calls it now. Inharmonic, yeah, the inharmonic modulations,
yes,
and
having them memorized,
simultaneities and all that good stuff.
I remember me and my friend being in a study group really late at night, and we were both like at a 70, and we were like, we have got to lock in.
Yeah.
And we did. I mean, I passed. I did not fail once.
It is a trial by fire. It for sure is. You're not alone.
I'm surprised it worked, but I literally used a pop song to teach me theory 3 concepts. I had to I knew in my heart that it was not exactly the same thing, but I said, we're ignoring that today. You're going to be rounded binary form.
You're going to be rounded binary today.
Even though I know darn well it's just a 2-5-1 chord on repeat.
Yeah, well, it's okay. It works.
Yep, I passed.
Yeah, that's what's important.
Yeah, I'm done with theory, so I can officially say that.
Yeah, you're never really done with theory last,
classes.
Especially classes.
There we go.
Yeah, done with theory classes. That's always good.
If you could score any film or game, past or present, what would it be?
Oh, wow. If I could score any film or game, past or present, I don't know, man. Wow. That one stumped me. I kind of want to say Star Wars, but then you wouldn't have John Williams, and I can't deprive the world of that. So
true.
I think so. Okay. There was a filmmaker who made a French filmmaker who made 3 films, and they were each titled after a color in the French flag. So one was called white, one was called blue, and one was called red. Mm-hmm. And I think I would really have loved to score those films, because I think they did they're really, really compelling, and I thought I could have done a really good score for them. Mm-hmm. I would have really liked to have done that. I kind of want to score World of Warcraft, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just feel like I just feel like that would suit my style a lot to score World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I just when you said I don't want to take that away from people, that made me rethink of what I would have chosen.
Right.
Because it's like, you're right. Yeah. If I were to score that or create music for that, then the original music wouldn't have existed.
Yeah, then you wouldn't have had Hans Zimmer score. You wouldn't have had John Williams score. Or
you
wouldn't have had Danny Elfman score. And
so that made me rethink.
Can you really deprive the world of that?
No.
Yeah. No, I know what I want. I want to score the new Spaceballs movie. So if y'all haven't found a composer for that yet, just throwing that out there.
That's all we have time for today. Please check out Dr. Phillips in the links below. And remember, keep listening, keep creating, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.